So let's take other functions that are also used to manipulate lists and tuples. So for example, let's define a new list. Let's say my list 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and run this. So there's a function that can be used to add to the element of a list, and the function is called append. So let's say, for example, we want to add 6 to this my list. We can do append. So append so we'll do my list dot append, and we'll give it the value we want to add to the list, which is 6. So, and if you do print my list, so then we have 6 added to the list. So append is used to add more elements to a list. So we can also do another thing again. There's another function called insert. So insert is used to impute or add an element to a list at a particular index number. So let's say, for example, in my list, I have 1 to 6. And if after the number 2, I want to add another number. So that's I'm inserting another number after number 2. Then I wouldn't use append because append only had to the end of the list. So now to insert my new value into anywhere in the list, then I will use the insert function. So my list dot insert. So the way the insert function works is that it takes in 2 arguments. So the first argument is where we want to insert the value at what index. So for example, I want it immediately after the number 2. So immediately after the number 2, that means it will be the third element. So 1, 2, and the third element, that is where I want it. So like we all know that Python is a 0 index based language. So we are going to specify 2 as the index where we want our element to be inserted. So which is number 10. I want number 10 to be inserted at index number 2. So if I do print my list, then you can see immediately after 2, which that is the second index, because 1 is 0 index, 2 is 1 index, and 10 is this second index. So immediately after 2, my new element is inserted into the list. So that is the insert function. So we also have another function for manipulating list, which we call remove. So we have seen different methods of how to add element to the list. So if we want to remove elements from the list, then there's a function called remove, and we just write remove and the element you want to remove as the argument. So we say my list, and if I feel like I want to remove 10, the new element I just added, if I feel like I want to remove it, I'll just do my list dot remove. And what is the element I want to remove? That is 10. If I do print my list, then I have my original list back, which is the 1 to 6, and the 10 has been removed from the list. So the other function we can use to manipulate list is something we call extend. Extend allows us to also add elements to the list, but now it allows us to add multiple elements to the list. Just like we can use append to add elements to the list, now we can use extend to add multiple elements to the list. And to do that, we'll say my list dot extend, and we'll pass in the argument we want to add, which is new element, the new element we want to add as the argument. So let's say we want to extend this by adding 7, 8, and 9 to it. So if we print this now and say my list, So we can see that the list has been expanded now, just like saying it has been extended now. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So that is the way the extend work. Extend work the same way the append function work. The only difference is that with extend you can add more elements than you could with the append method. So the next method we want to talk about is the sort method, and this allows us to sort the element in the list. So let's create a new list and say new list equals, let's say 3, 6, 7, 2, 8, 9, and do 1 and do 4. So now I have numbers in an ordered form, so I can use sort to sort this number and order them. So now I can say my list dot sort. So right now I don't need to pass any arguments, so I just do print sorted list. Let's say sorted list and pass my list and run this. So we can see that all the numbers has been sorted in ascending order. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that is the sort function. So the next function we are moving to is the reverse function. So if you have a list, you can reverse the order in which they have been sorted. So for this, we will still use my list, and we can see that my list dot reverse. And just like the sort function, we don't need to pass in any argument. Let's print my list. So you can see that this has been reordered or sorted. So that is descending order. So from the highest to the lowest, that's 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that is the reverse function. So the last one under the list manipulation that we'll be talking about before we move to the tuple manipulation is the enumerate function. This allows us to enumerate the list to get both the index and the value in an iterable manner. So if we use the list we created earlier, my list, so let's iterate over it. So to do that, we do for index comma value. So since we are trying to get two values, we specify two variables initially in enumerate, and we pass in our list as the value, which is my list. So put a colon and print what you want. So we can print index and get the index value, comma, we can say value, and also get the index, the value variable. Once you run this, we should get the index and the value. So you can see now that just like it's on our list, the index 0 corresponds to the value number 9, same as the index 1 corresponds to the value number 8, and so forth, till we get to the value, the index 8, which corresponds to the value 1. So that is how to use the enumerate function to manipulate list. So let's go to tuple manipulation, and to do that, let's define a tuple. Let's say my tuple, and you say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and run that. So the first thing we can do here is convert a tuple to a list. So to do that, we just say tuple, let's create a variable, tuple to list equals. So we use the list function to do that and pass in the tuple, which is my tuple. if we print that, print tuple to list, then the same thing we have in tuple, now we have it in list format. We can also reverse that. We can say converting list to tuples. So let's do that. List to tuple that equals to. So we use the tuple function and pass in the list. So we use our initial list that we have created, which is my list, and you can run this. So let's print what we have, list to tuples. So you can see now that what we had as a list initially is now a tuple. So that is converting list to tuples and tuple to list.